We're here at the CHS booth at Commodity Classic 2022 in New Orleans, and I'm talking with Ted Stark. He's the Refined Fuels District Manager for CHS in the Pacific Northwest. And Ted, refined fuels, that is a big topic in March of 2022. Let's talk first about the global situation. What are we dealing with right now in the refined fuel space?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's a lot of chaos in the market right now. Refined fuels is a global market at this point. Anything that affects us here in the United States has ripple effects around the world and vice versa. So one of the things that we want to work on here in the U.S. is just controlling our controllables, working with your local cooperative and making sure that you're finding all the avenues to make your season profitable.
Well, talking about controlling the uncontrollables, this is a year the volatility, I've heard from many growers here at Commodity Classic that, oh my, I wish I'd contracted fuel, or I wished I'd contracted more. As folks are thinking about that, perhaps in the tractor cab as they're running with planting here in a few weeks, what should they be considering as to whether or not it makes sense to contract fuel?
Contracting fuel is a great risk management tool for growers and producers, but you want to work with an expert at your local cooperative to do that. There are times of the year where contracting is really good, and there's times of the year where it's not. And you got to always remember, contracting is a budgeting tool. It's here to make sure that you're being productive when you can be productive at the best possible price. It's not about winning the market.
I'm laughing, but that's a really good point. And a lot of us, myself included, get a little caught up on winning. Ted, we're thinking so much about crude oil right now. We're thinking about the American place in the crude oil ecosystem. I'm just not all that familiar with it. Can you bring us up to speed? Where does America refine fuels, and what is it we're refining?
Yeah, so America refines fuels pretty much across the footprint, but our two major centers are the South and the North. Southern refineries are really traditional here. It's what the nation really thinks about when refining crude oil. In the North, where CHS has refineries, we refine more of a heavy crude, a Canadian crude, which is really designed more for the atmospheres that we work in. Our two refineries have been adjusted, their cokers have been changed so that we can refine that heavy crude. It comes out with a little bit better of a cloud point for the northern part of the country, which allows our producers to work even when it gets colder.
What's a cloud point? What does that mean?
It's an indicator on when diesel fuel gets a little too cold to operate.
Okay. Yep. All right. So as you think about that CHS refinery, this is a crazy year to be in the oil business. What advantages does that give CHS when things are as volatile as they are?
Yeah. So working with CHS or one of our Cenex cooperatives is a really great advantage, especially in a year like this. CHS only sells product to our member owners. So we have a responsibility to fill the brand at our retail locations and to supply our member owners. We don't go outside of that and sell it to anybody that just needs fuel.
All right, Ted, look out with me. Through the summer, given all the volatility we've got, the future is unknowable. But what should farmers have in mind given all the volatility that's out there? What are some key concerns you've got in the world of refined fuels?
Well, that's a really good question. I would stay in contact with your fuel supplier. Ask them, if they're an expert in the topic, what they're looking at. What are some of the key indicators? For me, right now, the forward trend on contracting is retreating a little bit. The price is going down. To me, that indicates that maybe we may have some relief. At least people are speculating that there's going to be relief down the road. So that's really interesting to me. You also want to make sure that you plan accordingly, not only just for the spring planting season, but make sure that you're planning for the gallons you're going to use in the summer, and definitely your harvest gallons. That doesn't necessarily mean contracting, but you know what you're going to use, know what you're going to need, and then probably use a product that's a little bit higher quality. Cenex Premium Diesel really protects our engines and our injectors. We guarantee a 5% increase in fuel economy. When you're talking $4 diesel, that's 20 cents. Yeah.
What is it that CHS is doing differently in your premium diesel fuel?
Yeah, we're really a leader in premium diesel here in the United States. We sell more gallons of it than anybody else, I think. And we do that because we protect those new engines. We protect the injectors. We also store we put a storage stabilizer in our fuel so that our producers who run really hot and heavy for 8 weeks and then slow down and do nothing, diesel fuel loves to grow things in it, and we're trying to protect the diesel fuel at all different sources. So instead of just contacting one issue with this diesel fuel, we're really going the whole gamut and protecting the fuel through the whole cycle.
That is incredible. And yeah, that percentage increase in efficiency in a year like this when prices are where they are, it helps pencil. Ted, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.